Bujumbura, Burundi's economic capital, attracts random tourists to its scenic Lake Tanganyika beaches. It's a popular destination for these first-time visitors drawn to the city's seaside.
It's a great city with a good atmosphere. Traveling from Rwanda is easy, and the people are really welcoming. It's different from a few years ago, when there were problems and Rwandans didn't want to come. But right now, there are no problems.
After a political and security crisis in 2015, triggered by the repression of demonstrations against the third term of the then president, tourists avoided Burundi. Following a failed coup attempt, the authorities isolated the country for 7 years. The borders officially reopened in 2022.
Have you seen Lake Tanganyika?
Prior to the crisis, Bujumbura was considered the party capital of the region. Jordan, the manager of Bora Bora, sees these tourists as a welcome blessing.
Business was not going well. There weren't a lot of customers, only locals. Then we started to have a lot of customers, especially Rwandans. I think they mostly like to party.
To party, as prices are the lowest in the region. A symptom of an economy still at half-mast after years of isolation, according to Faustin Ndikumana, an economist and representative of civil society.
We have a stark trade deficit. The import-export ratio is below 20%. But the main thing is that we're making progress. Even if it is at a snail's pace, we are moving forwards, not backwards.
This slow progress affects traders like Diane Sengiyumva, director of a coffee company. The industry represents a quarter of the country's exports.
Here's our supply of coffee, which we export.
The borders are now open, but Diane is still struggling to send her coffee to neighboring states.
First, the difficulties are at the borders. Often the guards aren't well informed about the laws for the sale of coffee. Whereas for the export of larger quantities, like to Europe or the US, it's already well known and can be done without a problem.
Despite these limitations, coffee is one of the few industries that attracts foreign investors, often debted by the negative reputation of Burundi. Bruce Niyonzima is determined to change Burundi's image. He organized a bus trip with 200 people, introducing them to the country's traditions. A pivotal stop on the journey, the iconic century of the sacred drum, a popular symbol of the nation's history.
We bring people here so they know we have a culture and heritage to preserve and protect, like the drumming, Inore dance, and musical instruments which are on the verge of disappearing.
It is Burundi's most famous spectacle. The immense percussions, a tradition inherited from the royal families, has become famous across the continent, keeping alive the country's drum rituals. Recognized as intangible heritage by UNESCO, they attract thousands of tourists each year.
There was a tarnished image internationally. Many people thought that in Burundi there was only war. Our ambition is that in 2035 there will be 1 million visitors per year. I hope that Burundi will continue on the path of development and tourism.
Bruce's initiative is backed by the government, which puts the economy at the top of its list of priorities.
As you know, a country that does not have peace or security cannot have foreign investors. They must be reassured to come and bring their capital here. This is what we are doing with two major projects. With Vision 2040, Burundi will be an emerging country, and with Vision 2060, it will be developed.
These ambitious goals are set in a country where 3/4 of the population still live below the poverty line, according to the World Bank. To address this, President Evariste Ndayishimiye has turned to international partners. The EU and its member states have invested over 800 million euros in development projects in Burundi from 2014 to 2021.
It really is the political will on behalf of the new government to reconnect with the European Union and other partners. The IMF has already reached an agreement with the government for a substantial deal of more than $260 million. And then there's also the World Bank and the European Union too.
Brussels could resume direct budgetary aid to the government, previously suspended in 2016, if governance reforms are implemented.